Once upon a time, there were two women who had brought a child to King Solomon, each claiming that this child was theirs. Both of them had infant sons, and one of them had died during the night. So one of the women came to King Solomon and said that this child was hers, while the other one had contested her. And they were both arguing, and King Solomon came with a solution. Keep in mind, this baby was alive. King Solomon's decision was to cut this live baby in half. At which point, one of the mothers said, "Don't kill the child, just give the baby to her, because it's not worth it." The other woman said, "Yes, cut the baby in half so that no one will have it." At which point, King Solomon decided that the one woman that gave up the child in order to spare its life was the true mother. And it was because of that wisdom King Solomon was known throughout the land for being wise. Most hard decisions are just like that. Some of us make decisions based off of which will benefit us the most. Other people make decisions based off of which will do the least damage to us. So in either case, whenever you have a hard decision, by answering the following 5 questions in this particular order, you will be able to refine a difficult decision into at least a much clearer one, rather than an easier one. So the first question is, can you do both? A lot of us think that you have to pick A or B, and the other option is, why not both? So for example, people think in terms of hobbies that you have to be able to do either sailing or sword fighting, and the reality is you could do both. Pirates do both, so you should be able to be like a pirate. Next question, which decision allows you to do something that you currently are not able to do? I actually had this decision recently. I had to choose between getting a laptop or getting a new car. So my car, I've had about for 8 years, and it's about time to replace the car, but I've been using an iPad instead of a laptop, which has been great so far, but has its limitations. And so when I was asking around, some people said, you should get a new car because it's about time, it's about to expire. But my brother had mentioned that if you don't have a laptop now, then it's at least a function that you don't have. So if you get a laptop, that will enable you to have more options. And I kind of agreed with that. So next question to ask is, if you can't do both and one does not give you an advantage over the other, then ask, which one is more fun? And that might seem counterintuitive when you're thinking between two jobs. So for example, if you have a job offer as a postal clerk and you have another job offer as a pinball machine repair person, the postal clerk will pay a little bit more money, but the pinball machine repair just sounds a lot more fun because of the environment. You get to play arcades all day. If that is more appealing to you, then fun is going to motivate you in a way that having more money can't. So the next question to ask, if one isn't more fun than the other, is, when you take out other people's criticism in your decision-making process, which choice makes more sense? A lot of us want to consider other people's opinions, whether it be our parents, our friends, even society's opinion on something. And it will usually affect decisions like where we should get a job, where we want to go to work, which school we should go to, even who we want to marry. And when you take all of those extra voices out of the decision-making process and you leave it up to you, then if one stands out to be more clear than the other, if one makes you definitely more happy than the other, then that is the decision that you'll go with. So as much as your friends and family might care about you, it is actually a decision that affects your life, and for them it's just an opinion of how your life ought to be played, but you're the one that has to live it. So the final question to ask once you've answered the first 4 questions and you haven't come to a clear decision is the decision important enough to actually matter? And that might be the strangest question to ask, but consider this. If you can't do both, if one decision doesn't give you more advantage than the other, if you don't care about one over the other and your friends don't care about one or the other, then is this decision worth agonizing over? Is it that important? I remember in the 8th grade when the teacher had split the class in half and we were supposed to play two different Native American tribes. And so she had asked me to choose which tribe my half of the class was going to be. And it was between, I believe, the Hokie and the Hupia or something like that. And it agonized me that I had to make that kind of a decision. It was a stupid thing. It didn't matter which one it was. And so after half a minute, I finally decided to go with Hokie. At which point, my half of the class just started groaning because they thought the name was stupid. And of course, I was embarrassed for the rest of the day, and I couldn't live with myself. And obviously, I died and came back to life and gave you this video. When I was in junior high, I had a big problem trying to make those kinds of decisions because I was rather introverted and didn't want people to hate me. That decision didn't kill me. It wasn't important enough for me to stress about. So if there are decisions like that where it's not worth the stress, then don't get stressed over it just because it's a decision you have to make. So going back to the Solomon story, for the fake mother, any decision would have been fine because in the end she just wanted what was hers. Any decision would have been good as long as she had come out ahead. But for the real mother, the baby was everything because there would be no decision without it. And even though it was the harder choice for her to give up the baby, it proved to be the right choice. A lot of your hard decisions are going to be between things that you love and things that you ought to love. Sometimes they're between things that are safe and things that you want. And at times they're going to be things that make you happy and things that leave you content, but always wondering. You're always going to want to choose wisely, but when you can't choose wisely, choose everything. And that concludes this post on the art of doing things. Until next time.